Chapter 2. The First Dream. The Technocratic World. In a land of great savannas and sprawling deserts, my family settled in the magnificent Burkina Faso. One fateful day, my mother led my siblings and me to a place unlike any other. A pit, filled to the brim with scaly, fearsome beasts. Crocodiles, the rulers of the riverine realm. Before I could comprehend what was happening, I found myself plunging headfirst into the pit of death, surrounded by over 4 dozen of these monstrous creatures. I cannot recall if I was forced or if I leaped on my own accord, for the shock of what happened still sends shivers down my spine. My mother stood by, watching as I faced these beasts of legend. It seemed as though she was content with seeing me meet my untimely demise in the jaws of these crocodiles. However, to her surprise, I caressed these fearsome creatures with my very own hands, touching their massive jaws and admiring their powerful bodies. Astonishingly, the crocodiles showed me no aggression. My sister, having witnessed my bravery, followed suit and joined me in the pit, much to our mother's horror. Yet, my older brother was too scared to take the leap of faith. Suddenly, a young boy arrived, carrying a bunch of squawking chickens. Without hesitation, he hurled them into the pit, and the crocodiles sprang into action, their lightning-fast movements capturing the chickens with one bite and swallowing them whole. Despite all that transpired, I couldn't understand why my mother took us to that dangerous place, and so I simply returned to my daily chores, feeling that I had braved the jaws of death and emerged victorious. In the land of Burkina, I experienced a wondrous sequence of dreams that lasted for 7 nights in a row. Each dream was as vivid and lifelike as the waking world, taking me on incredible journeys that defined my imagination. The first dream transported me to a world of darkness, where I found myself as a glimmering beacon of light amidst the inky blackness. Soon, I was whisked away to a magnificent realm of beauty, where I walked among extraordinary creatures and sampled the delights of the mysterious jungle. Yet, my idyllic stroll was interrupted when the darkness returned, transforming the world around me with sharp and sinister spikes. Trapped and alone, I struggled with all my might to break free from the inescapable darkness. With a tremendous effort, I tore a hole in the blackness and emerged into a world of brilliant light, surrounded by the strange and wondrous faces of beings beyond my comprehension. The second dream led me to a fantastic place of technology and innovation, where people, clad in peculiar clothing and brandishing incredible gadgets, had created a thriving society. As I walked among them, I was lauded with admiration and respect, basking in the glow of my own greatness. Yet, this world of wonder soon gave way to a landscape of destruction and chaos. The trees were dead, the food was rotten, and the water had turned into acid. People fought and cursed. Their once mighty society was reduced to rubble. Despite it all, I persevered, tirelessly guiding and teaching those around me until the world was restored to its former beauty. As I basked in the glory of my triumph, emerged, causing the women to scream and flee in terror. Though I found the creature harmless, I could not ignore the distress it caused and cast it into a pit, to the cheers and admiration of those around me. In my blissful state, I felt content and pleased with myself. But the lizard that had caused such a stir seemed harmless and insignificant to me. As I gazed upon the creature, I couldn't fathom why it had been cast down into the depths. This part of my dream was full of whimsy and delight. and I found myself pondering the identity of the peculiar little being that had crossed my path. As I stood there, suddenly I felt a jolt, and found myself transported into a dark, foreboding cave. The air was thick with the stench of blood and decay, and the walls were lined with what appeared to be endless rows of people with horns like demons. They were moving about frantically, performing unspeakable acts of depravity and destruction. In one hand he held a giant fork, which he used to stab and consume the hapless people around him. With his other hand he bellowed out a stream of ominous, incomprehensible words, invoking death and destruction upon all who heard him. Despite the horror before me, the people were not cowering in fear. Instead, they were joyously dancing and celebrating their dark lord, even going so far as to sacrifice animals and themselves before him. Worst of all, some of the women in the crowd would give birth and then offer up their newborns, as if pleading with the beast to consume them as well. As I tried to back away from the scene, I found myself being dragged forward by the throng of demon worshippers. Their eyes were glazed over with fervor, and they seemed to be in a trance, controlled by the beast's power. Desperately, I screamed out for help, but no one came to my aid. The monster's fork was closing in on me, and I knew I was about to be consumed like the others. My heart raced with fear as I braced myself for the inevitable, wondering how I had ended up in this nightmarish realm, and if there was any way out. As if in a dream, I was transported to a strange and imposing factory, an endless maze of machinery and metal that stretched out as far as the eye could see. I was not alone, for all around me were people, moving like machines, their faces blank and their eyes lifeless. They seemed to have lost their minds and their will, trapped in a never-ending cycle of labor and drudgery. I knew that I had to escape this bleak existence, and so I shed my work clothes and made a break for the exit. But as I ran, I was confronted by a fearsome army of soldiers, their insect-like bodies gleaming with an unnatural sheen. They were like cockroaches, fierce and relentless, and they were determined to subdue me at any cost. As they closed in around me, their threats echoing in my ears, I realized that I was not a free person, but a captive. I had been abducted at birth, forced to toil in this factory, with no hope of escape. But I refused to give up, and instead resolved to uncover the truth about this place. I saw the horrors of this factory society, the poisonous food, the acidic water, the prison-like houses, and the ruthless cockroach soldiers who enforced the will of their masters. And yet, even in the face of such oppression, I refused to give in, for I knew that I had to find a way to break free from this nightmarish existence, to rise up against my captors, and to claim my rightful place as a free person once more. In a world where the true masters remained hidden in the shadows, the factory seemed to be an endless prison. The workers had no faces, no individuality, and no freedom. It was a place of despair and hopelessness. But for one brave soul, there was no other choice but to escape. In the depths of the dark factory, where the relentless clanging of machinery echoed endlessly, I uncovered a sinister truth. The cockroaches were the masters of this domain, and we, mere humans, were mere pawns in their twisted game. With steely resolve, I delved deep into their ways, mastering their limited minds and tracking their every move. And then, one fateful day, I saw it, a glimmer of hope, a tiny door that promised escape from this hellish realm. But the path was narrow and treacherous, and I stumbled and fell, plummeting down a towering cliff towards my doom. The mocking laughter of the cockroaches echoed in my ears, a cruel reminder of my plight. But fate had other plans for me. As I fell towards the hard earth, I was suddenly caught in mid-air by a magical swing, and there, seated on either side of me, were two ethereal maidens with long hair that flowed like golden sunlight and midnight shadows. They radiated an otherworldly beauty, and I knew that they were no ordinary mortals. As we swung amidst the lush greenery of a verdant jungle, the sun shone down upon us with a radiant glow. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers, and a sense of wonder filled my soul. And as I gazed upon the stunning house that lay before us, I knew that I had found my true sanctuary, a place where I could rest and find solace after my long and perilous journey. We lived in perfect harmony with nature, but our simple existence was not without challenges. Though we were happy, we often lacked the luxuries of the city. One day, we decided to venture into a city unlike any other. Trees and vines intertwined with towering skyscrapers, creating a surreal and mesmerizing atmosphere. As we strolled through the city streets, I was entranced by a toy shop and lost track of my companions. As I was admiring my favorite toy, I suddenly awakened from my dream. Confused and disoriented, I wondered who those two captivating maidens were and where they came from. Their memory lingered like a distant dream, a reminder of a life that once was, and a world beyond my imagination. If you'd like to read more, you can purchase the book on Etsy, The Epic Dream Saga of UltimateMan. Your support helps me create more stories. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment and click the notification bell. Thank you once again for tuning in. The Epic Dream Saga of UltimateMan. All illustrations and content are made by Tom Bijl. 3D Vision, all rights reserved. Kindly share the story with your friends and family. You can also consider purchasing this book as a gift for your loved ones. It makes the perfect gift, complemented by its stunning illustrations. The power is in you.